So that shiny new game just came out on Garde, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game for some first impressions. This game is a third-person sword fighting game that follows along a set story. You play as Adalia, and you start the game with your brother saying someone stole your sword. So naturally, you go to chase down this person. After walking only a short ways, you come across the vigilante. He wonders if it's true that you vowed to protect the city from Count Duke, and proposes a set of challenges in order to get your sword back and prove your word. The game is very, very linear, with no exploration other than a few posters and papers you can read here and there. One of the first things you do is pick up your sword and go over very basic combat training. You learn to strike and to parry. Parrying is easy. Whenever an enemy's sword has blue around it, parry it and strike back. Then you come across a new variant of soldier. They have 2 hit points, making them tougher, and it takes longer to whittle down their health. These soldiers are also just better all around in offense and defense. If an enemy's attack has red around it, that means it's unblockable and must be dodged. What's pretty neat is that you can kick around these boxes to push enemies into traps or to make them stumble. I also needed to pet that chicken. I came across an announcement stating that today is a holiday to celebrate the birth of their new mayor. Not sure how that works. There are a few parkour elements in this game, but nothing major. The combat is pretty basic, but can get challenging with multiple enemies attacking you at once. You can also kick enemies, which I found the best times to kick them are usually if they're standing next to ledges or if they're already stunned. If you try to kick an enemy that isn't stunned or hurt, then most likely they'll just block your kick. You also have some special strikes that you can perform once your meter fills up, such as a sword strike, which is more powerful than a normal strike. At the end of episode 1, you face off against Vigilante, as well as some enemies that spawn mid-fight. After defeating him, you should come to the realization that Vigilante is your brother, if you hadn't already figured that out, that is. He was just messing around with you, more or less. So that ends episode 1, and that's when I realized this game was episodic. So in episode 2, things ramp up a little bit more. The Count Duke has had you arrested and put into prison, not for anything you've done, but just so you don't interfere with his plans. So you spawn in prison, and after talking to the Duke Count in a cutscene, your goal is to escape the prison. Escaping the cell is easy. I just turned around and saw a hole. Here you learn you can pick up certain objects to throw at enemies and momentarily stun them.
That looks painful.
Also, if you throw an object at them and then strike immediately after, you do a bit more damage than usual. After going a little deeper in and fighting more enemies, you come across a new enemy who throws grenades at you non-stop until you kill them. The good news is they're extremely easy to kill. The bad news is that they run from you non-stop. That can be annoying if you're in battle against a lot of others at the same time. You also learn the tornado strike, which also uses your meter and you knock down everyone around you when you use it. Much later, you fight a captain, which is by far the worst enemy to fight I've come across yet. I've played for an hour and 30 minutes in the first 2 episodes, and the captain so far has been the worst. The captain has a shield, and it's really hard to damage. All of the captain's strikes are red and unblockable, so you have to be careful when fighting a captain. After you damage the captain enough, they lose their shield, so it's now easier to damage them, but at the same time, they now become a bit more aggressive. I actually ended up dying to this captain. I'm playing this on medium difficulty as well. There's only 3 difficulties. I did kill a captain the second time around, however. Moving on, I want to show the cannons you can use throughout your fights. It's actually really satisfying and fun to use the cannons. Explosive barrels are also satisfying to use. I guess I love big booms. At the end of episode 2, you finally come across the Count Duke. He's basically causing all of this trouble just because there's silly paintings of him that he once burned.
Cheater! Reprobate! This won't go unpunished! Just you wait!
The Count Duke was hell-bent on destroying these portraits. But I'm nothing if not a passionate defender of the art. So I made sure everyone in town could see the masterpieces.
After you defeat him and save the paintings, the episode is over. That's when the game told me I unlocked arena mode, so I give that a shot. It's what it sounds like. Enemies come at you, you kill them, then you go to the next part. There's also positive and negative modifiers for arena battles that I showed on the screen a second ago. The game is $20, which I believe to be a fair price. The main selling part of this game is the sword combat with the other items that you can interact with during a fight, such as kicking barrels and stuff like that. It's fun. I have no complaints with this game. If you are interested in a deep story or open world exploration, then look elsewhere. This is all about simple, fun sword combat, and it does it well. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you in the next one.